we move on. The Trump administration has frozen $26 billion in funding for Democrat-leaning states. This comes on the first day of the federal government shutdown. Of the total amount frozen, $18 billion belongs to the transit projects in New York approved by Congress. Earlier, the head of Federal Office of Management and Budget stated that these projects have been put on hold to ensure funding is not based on unconstitutional diversity, equity, and inclusion principles. The remaining $8 billion have been cut from climate-related projects, targeting policies favored by Democrat-run states. President Trump has also said that this government shutdown, which he blames on Democrats, must be used as an opportunity to eliminate wasteful and fraudulent expenditures and save billions of dollars. Meanwhile, residents of Washington, federal employees and tourists have reacted to the impact of the shutdown on their daily lives. Let's hear what they have said.
As a citizen, you're just concerned about safety of transportation. Here we are in Washington, D.C. to be able to do things. As a tourist, we spend a lot of money to get here, so hopefully we can do all the things we want to do. It's a little bit frustrating in that it seems to happen too often, and it seems like it's just political compromise after political compromise, which puts the American public potentially at risk or without services.
I'd like to see them do something on the health care. It's actually going to impact me. I get a subsidy on mine. And it's expensive, and it's got a big deductible, so it's not, and you really have no choice. You got one company that you get the insurance from. I'm in Florida, and I've got money put away. I can pay for it, and I'm not happy about it. If you're working on a paycheck to paycheck, it's going to be a big problem because it's a big number. I can see why they're going to fight for it.
It's stressful because you just have all this uncertainty. So I wish they would just get their act together so that we can all do what we do best at work, which is work and work for the American people, because I do.
It has not affected us at all up to today. It went into effect last night, but we were planning to come and see Washington, D.C., just the main highlights from outside, so it's not that big of a problem for us. Well, the only thing we cannot do today because of the shutdown is accessing the Capitol. I think it would have been a nice visit, but whatever. Other than that, transportation is not affected, so we are not having any problems, and I assume we won't have any in the upcoming days.
Now we move on. EU leaders have met in Copenhagen under growing pressure to strengthen European defense following a series of drone intrusions into EU airspace and recent disruptions at Danish airport and some other areas. Discussions included plans for a multi-layered drone wall to protect the continent as eastern flank countries like Poland and Estonia face increasing security challenges. At the conclusion of the informal meeting, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has emphasized the goal of building a Europe strong enough to deter a war, highlighting the urgency of action in the coming months and years. Let's listen in.
I like the idea of a drone wall, but we have to be very frank to the Europeans that no matter what kind of capabilities we are able to buy, to innovate, to build up, there will still be drones coming into Europe. Everybody knows now what is at stake. I think our main goal is simply to building a Europe so strong that war not will be an option. This is our main task in these weeks and months, and unfortunately also years. And I think we have had good discussions today, and now we are ready to take the next steps.
The Danish Prime Minister has further asserted that the next steps would include stepping up military and financial support for Ukraine, rearming European countries, and strengthening the production of drones and anti-drone technology. Additionally, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has called for stronger pressure on Russia, announcing a new package of robust sanctions targeting energy, finance, and trade, marking the 19th round of EU measures. Let's listen in.
So this is the time to further increase the pressure on Russia. And to this end, we proposed a new approach of sanctions. We do not approach the sanctions anymore in incremental steps, but we present much more robust measures on energy, on financial services, and on trade, and that is the 19th package of sanctions that is on the table right now. Now, what Belgium is concerned, it's absolutely clear that Belgium cannot be the one who is the only member state that is carrying the risk, but the risks have to be put on broader shoulders.
Speaking on the matter of European projects for common defenses, the Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has also confirmed that Greece will continue contributing to European defense initiatives, reinforcing collaboration among member states. Let's listen in.
Περί παγκόσμια γεωπολιτική αναταραχή δημιουργούνται, θα έλεγα, την αίσθηση του κατεπίκοντος ως προς την ανάγκη η Ευρώπη επιτέλους να περάσει από τα λόγια στην πράξη ως προς την ενιαία ευρωπαϊκή μισθολάκηση. Η Ελλάδα ανήκει στις χώρες εκείνες εδώ και πολλά χρόνια υποστηρίζουν τις αμυντικές τους δαπάνες σε επίπεδα πολύ υψηλότερα από το μέσο όρο και θα εξακολουθούμε να το κάνουμε αυτό, δεσμεύοντας πόρους άνω του 3% του ΑΕΠ και τις αμυντικές μας δαπάνες για τα επόμενα χρόνια. Έχει έρθει όμως η ώρα η Ευρώπη να κινητοποιήσει ευρωπαϊκούς πόρους για την υποστήριξη ευρωπαϊκών έργων κοινής ευρωπαϊκής άμυνας. Για την πυραυλική προστασία ή όπως αυτό το τείχος άμυνας απέναντι σε...
Several member states of EU have already supported the drone wall initiative, providing rapid detection and response to potential threats. 10 allies, including Poland, the UK, the Netherlands, Finland, Sweden, and the US, are offering anti-drone and surveillance support, with a German frigate recently docking in Copenhagen. In a related development, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has met with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. During the Copenhagen summit, the discussion has focused on UK's leadership in NATO operations, including support for the eastern flank and Ukraine, as well as coordinated defense strategies with France, Germany, and the US. Following these discussions, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet with around 50 European heads of state and other EU leaders at the European Political Community Summit in Copenhagen today. During his visit, he will also join Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen for a joint press conference. Now for this discussion, we're joined by retired Major General Sudhakarji. He's a senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General Sudhakarji, for joining us. Good to see you. Now looking at these news coming in from Europe, in your view, what are the key challenges and opportunities for Europe as it strengthens its defense capabilities while maintaining its democratic processes?
Shobha, good morning. Thank you for getting me to NewsX World once again. There are two parts in your question, challenges and opportunities for Europe. Before responding to your question, let me clarify one issue, that if at all the war broke out between Ukraine and Russia, then the problem, the entire onus of responsibility rests on the European Union or the NATO countries, the northern alliances. When I say this, I say with a lot of authority and conviction, because I am a student of geopolitics. I have spoken enough, I have done a lot of research. The entire blame goes on to them. It is up to them whether they wish to escalate the situation or de-escalate the situation, so as to bring peace and normalcy. Now, very briefly, go back to 9th February 1990. James Baker, Secretary of State, USA, pays a visit one-on-one with Mikhail Gorbachev and assures Mikhail Gorbachev, who was very apprehensive at collapsing the Berlin Wall and reunifying East Germany with West Germany, because he was very fearful that NATO would expand its sphere of influence. onto which James Baker had assured him. It's available. You Google up, you'll find anyway. There is a white paper on this. He had assured him that the sphere of influence of NATO will not expand an inch to the east of where it was then. Not only to the East Germany boundary, but also the entire eastern frontier or the border of Eastern Europe with that of so-called the Soviet Union. Now, with this backdrop, at that point in time, 12 founding members in 1949, and when this agreement or this assurance was given, it had gone up to 16 members in NATO. And today, as we are talking on your channel, it has gone to 32 members. And some of the countries of erstwhile USSR have actually gone on to the NATO. Estonia, you see, Latvia, Lithuania, all such kind of countries. So therefore, I would say when you talk about the challenges, these challenges are actually very created in a fabricated in an artificial manner. Today, there are new threats in 21st century. The threats are not same as 20th century. If they think that the Russian President Putin is going to invade into Europe, then they're simply they are ignoring the reality. The reality, there is a mass-scale invasion of non-indigenous population inside Europe today. That is a bigger threat. The migration, the boat people from Northwest Africa and the Middle East, not the Russian trying to invade into Europe. So therefore, when you talk about the challenges are artificially created in the minds of the Europeans. There is a deep state of America which is triggering the entire thought process so as to keep the business alive and ticking. So this is one. The opportunity when you talk of, I say the opportunity lies in the side of the peace. It will do good to the European Union, it will do good to the people in the NATO forces to think it in a realistic manner. Donald Trump started off with a right voting. Today he seems to be changed. So with this, I hope I have been able to answer your question to some extent, if not entirely.
Yes, indeed. We will continue that in our U.S. Russia, and Ukraine news. But staying on this Copenhagen topic for now, Major General, given the slower pace of defense decision making in European countries compared to other regimes, how can Europe accelerate its defense investments and cooperation without compromising its democratic values of governance and accountability?
It's a very deep meaning question you have asked, Asova. I must compliment you and the channel. The fact of the matter remains that the complete Europe as on today, that is the European Union and the UK, they're driven by the very concept of security as being conceived by the deep state of America. Today, unfortunately, Donald Trump, who wanted to take care and address the threat or the challenges of deep state in America, has fallen into the trap of the deep state. The same man who came back with a resounding victory in his 2.0 tenure as President of America, contrary to his assurances that he would bring about peace between Russia and Ukraine within 24 hours of his assumption as president. Now it is almost going to be 8 or 9 months. So therefore, to respond to your question with regard to the Denmark leadership, I would say that there is already a rise of the percentage of the GDP of respective countries towards the defense expenditure. Number two, there is also a kind of a tacit commitment by USA, notwithstanding the flip-flop responses of the leadership. There is a kind of a standing invisible support of USA. As on today, there are American forces who are available, deployed in Europe. There are nuclear arsenals of America which are deployed in some of the countries in Europe. And there are Patriot missiles which are deployed in Europe. So therefore to say that what sense of governance is going to prevail, I would say, talk it out, go meet Putin, have one-on-one discussion, rather than putting every might and your thought process onto a escalatory matrix. it is not going to take anybody to a conclusive kind of an end. The end the world should look for in 21st century, as per my analysis, is peace and harmony. And the Copenhagen or the Denmark leadership would do well to think it over once again, rather than taking a regressive kind of a decision and adding fuel to the fire of preparing for a greater challenge of warfare, which is artificially being thought of. I would say they would do well if they go beat Putin, or Putin and all the relevant authorities, they meet up with each other, find some peace and harmony, and bring this mindless conflict to an end at the earliest.
Yes. Mr. General Sudhakarji, I completely agree with you over there. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic.